Here we go, guys. 5 of 6. The penultimate 2-pack of these every Order 66 2-pack ever video series that I've been doing. This one is almost the last one. And this is a cool one. It's another Kashyyk one, so you got another clone that could go into any kind of Kashyyk collection that you got going on. The Jedi included in this pack is Luminara Unduli. You do see her actually in Revenge of the Sith for just a brief period of time on Kashyyk with Yoda, so it would make sense that she is in a pack like this. And really, though they don't explain it in the movie, she probably died on Kashyyk and was killed by all the clone troopers. The second figure in this pack is a camouflage Atr Tee Driver. Really nothing special about it overall. It's just a straight up repack of the 2005 version of that figure, but this time in camouflage. The back of this package is really awesome. You've got this beautiful rendering of the Atr Tee Driver, and he's got all of his camo and stuff going on there. And then here you have an Attack of the Clones photograph, I believe, of Luminara Unduli, and it's set against this nice Kashyyk backdrop, where here it says, Luminara is a Jedi general sent to Kashyyk in the final days of the Clone Wars, with a squad of clone troopers, including Atr Tee Drivers. So there you go, that's why she has that guy. She has Atr Tee Drivers with her. Honestly, the bios on these packs are kind of lazy compared to Series 1, but it is what it is. Not a lot of kids back in the day were going to go and look at the back and be like, wow, she was a Jedi general sent to Kashyyk in the final days of the Clone Wars. It's not something that they're terribly interested in, so I understand that. But with the packaging all out of the way, let's open this up and take a look at the figures inside. And here they are side by side, the Atr Tee Driver and Luminara Unduli. Like I may have said, Luminara is a straight-up repack of the 2005 Revenge of the Sith Luminara. Nothing to really say about that. It's typical for this line with all the repacks that they did, especially with the Jedi. But this figure is pretty solid. She's got a good sculpt overall with this headdress here, and then of course with this really ornate tassel, I guess. I really don't know what you would call this, but it's actually a little embossed. It's raised. The fine detail is raised. It's not just printed. And then they've gone over it with this gold paint to give it a really nice standout look. I think that's a nice touch. The other thing too is that she's also got the armor plating with the bronze color on her shin guards. That's really cool. It's a nice detail, and it's interesting that they even went to the trouble of adding that when it's all covered in these soft goods here. This is one of the Jedi figures that I've actually never owned, and so I don't really know much about it. But she has a ball-jointed head, which is inhibited a little bit by that headdress, so it's really only that much side to side. She's got a hinge and a swivel at the shoulders, with a swivel at the elbow, and then a swivel at the wrist below this gauntlet here, so it swivels back there. She also has a torso swivel, which is nice, forward and back at the hips, with a hinge and a swivel at the knee, and then no ankle articulation, which is not a big deal. It's not really needed with this figure. She also comes with this nice lightsaber hilt. It is accurate to her character, I believe. It's always nice when they go that extra mile to get the detail right, when you really don't see her wielding the lightsaber in Revenge of the Sith, but that is accurate for her Attack of the Clones saber, I believe. And yeah, this is a pretty solid Jedi figure. I really like the detail, especially on this, whatever this is, this piece of fabric or something, and on the wrist braces as well as the shin guards. There's just a lot of really nice molding and sculpting going on, and it makes it a very unique character, especially if you're a fan of the Jedi and you like to have unique Jedi and not just a bunch of random people in brown robes. This is definitely one that you want to pick up just to have that variation. And then it's on to the Atr Tee Driver. And I gotta say, I'm a little torn with this figure because I want to like it, and I do like it, but I'm also disappointed about this figure in some various ways. The first issue is just my overall issue with the Atr Tee mold that I've mentioned in the previous video when I looked at the 212th Atr Tee Driver from Series 1. And that is just that it's a bad sculpt in my opinion. The chest plate looks kind of funky. The clone trooper can't really look straight ahead without looking like he's tucking his chin into his chest. The other thing too is he's molded to hold weapons in his left hand with this big open gripped hand, and then this hand being more of a trigger hand. He's designed specifically to hold this big clunky whatever blaster, and he's specifically designed to hold it in his left hand and grip it just like that. I never understood that. It's not something that we see in the movie, so it was a very interesting design choice, and it always bothered me that they never changed it, since you could very easily just pop different hands in from any of the other 2005 range of Clone Trooper action figures. The other issue I have with this particular one is actually that he doesn't have a battle damaged chest plate. I believe he's the only Atr Tee Driver with this particular 2005 mold that doesn't come with that interchangeable chest plate. And while it's not a huge issue, a lot of people really don't display him with that. It does kind of decrease the value, in my opinion, because in previous versions we got a Jedi and the Clone Trooper with the armor, and in this version they kind of skimped out and didn't do the armor. So that's just another issue that I have with it, but the positives on this figure, I would have to say, kind of outweigh that. It's a really interesting figure. It's got some cool paint apps all the way around with this camouflage deco, as well as almost like a gray wash that they've done over the whole figure to muddy it up a little bit. And for that reason, I really do love this design. I think this is probably my favorite Atr Tee Driver, as opposed to the standard green version, the white version, or the Utapau version that they made. This one is by far my favorite. Now for articulation on this figure, he features a ball-jointed head, hinge and a swivel at the shoulders, hinge and a swivel at the elbow, swivel at the wrist. He does have a torso swivel, then he's got a forward swivel at the hips, which actually go a pretty decent way forward to get him into the seated position, so that's nice. If you ever had an Atr Tee, I had a couple as a kid growing up and I don't have them now. He could sit really well on those, and that's nice that they took that into consideration when designing this figure. And then moving on with articulation, he does have a hinge and a swivel at the knee, hinge and a swivel at the ankle, and that is that. I suppose there is one other version of this figure that I left out of that previous list. There was another camouflage version that came out in a Atr Tee Commander pack, also a Target exclusive, and it was a lighter green trooper with more of a dazzle camouflage pattern. Very cool. I loved it. I had it as a kid and I definitely plan on getting it again. However, it's still not as cool as this one. I think the more muted color palette on this one just gives it a more realistic and militaristic feel, and it makes it seem like he would really fit in on the forest world of Kashyyk, trying to hide amongst all the trees and undergrowth and things like that. So it'll fit in really well with a lot of the other Kashyyk troopers that they made, and I feel like it's just a cool addition to have in general. But yeah, that's about it for this pack. Once again, it's a really nice pack. I think it's definitely a winner where both figures are nice and it's worth getting the whole pack and not just trying to track down one or the other loose. With all that being said though, that's really all there is to say about it. So thanks for watching. As always, hit that like button if you like this video, and if you're new to the channel, maybe consider subscribing. I really do appreciate it when you guys do. There's a link down in the description to my toy photography page where you'll see shots of figures like this, and also there's updates and stuff about my channel that sometimes go on there, so definitely give that a follow if you want to stay up to date with all the happenings going on here. But until next time guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.